YouTube! Hi YouTube, you know, you're probably sitting there being like, whoa, making another video. Well, I'm gonna try to make, get good on my word and make more YouTube videos for my YouTube fans. So, gonna go on with two reviews of two things I've done. I'm gonna review Heavy Rain for you guys, because I got it. And I'm gonna review Dante's Inferno. Is it the anime, not the game? Dante's Inferno, an epic anime. Is it truly an epic anime? Well, let's find out. But first, let's talk about Heavy Rain. Um, oh, there's something in my throat, but yeah, Heavy Rain. It's a great game. Love it. Um, it exceeded my expectations. I will start off by saying this. I was expecting a low game. Like, I was expecting for me to be like, oh, God, I'm so bored. Oh, God, it's so lame. Ugh. But then, more I got into Heavy Rain, the more I got interested in it. And so far, my favorite character story that I've been following is Mr. Mars. If you play Heavy Rain, Mr. Mars is the most interesting story, I think, out of all of them. I just started the chapter with the lady, I forgot her name, but I'm working on her now. But yeah, Mr. Mars is to me more interesting than Mrs. Mars or whatever. And the detective is pretty cool. Not the Keanu Reeves detective, not the FBI agent, the other guy, the guy who goes to that motel. He is my favorite character because he's so serious but it's funny. Um, but yeah, it's a great game. The only thing I would have to complain about, well, not the only thing, there's a few things, but I mean they're pretty minor. One of the minor things I found annoying was the font size. I have a standard definition TV, and this font I believe is for HD TVs. Why? It's fucking font. Why does font need to be in HD? I don't understand. I mean, you have HD graphics with standard font. I mean, I've seen many games do that. Why can't Heavy Rain? And that's the problem I have with that, because I was trying to get through the difficulty, and I can tell the difference between regularly playing video games or very often playing video games. They sound almost the same. I don't know. I chose often, but luckily you could change the difficulty within the game, so I'm playing around with the two difficulties. Um, Hopefully I picked the right one because I want a little challenge. So that's the font. Then the other criticism I have is, oh, excuse me, I'm tired, but I had a long night, long day, long week. Uh, the acting is pretty hit or miss. I mean, there are moments where the acting is like, oh, that's pretty good acting. Then there are moments where it's just like they sound as if they're not interested in what they're doing. It's just like there's a Coke bottle on the table. What is this Coke bottle doing here? I gotta go to bed. It's like kind of, it feels choppy, and that's something that I wasn't expecting. And the character movements are kind of choppy as well. I mean, it's just kind of eh. But again, that's a very minor complaint, and that's no reason for you not to buy this game. In fact, I do recommend this game. At first, I was like, oh, why do you have to hold down R2 to run and walk? I mean, that's just kind of weird. But the more I played, the better, the more used to it I am, and it's a great take on a detective game. And they give you a nice origami thing to do while you're waiting for it to install, which I didn't do because the font was too small, so I couldn't read the instructions or understand the instructions. So, fuck. And that's Heavy Rain. Now let's move on to Dante's Inferno, the epic anime that you guys wanna talk. Let me just take the time for a sec. Let me make sure I'm not running out of time here because YouTube is Nazis when it comes to time. Okay, I have like 5 minutes left. So, Dante's Inferno anime is something that EA did for Dante's Inferno, the video game that they released. And I I didn't really get into it. The story was interesting, but I could never get into the gameplay because it just felt like God of War, and I don't like God of War that much. I mean, God of War is a great game. I'm not gonna say, oh, God of War sucks. No, God of War is a great game. It's just I could never get into that game as I could get into Devil May Cry and Bayonetta. I could play those games, but when it comes to God of War and Dante's Inferno, I can never play those. It's just like, it feels the same, but I don't know. It's just, you have the same argument with the other games I listed as well, but let's talk about the anime. It's a really good anime. There's like 7 directors or whatever for each level of hell that Dante enters, and this is a really cool depiction of the story and all that. But near the end, I think it got ridiculous in the animation department because, not that I'm judging or anything, it's just that it starts off with, you know, the typical beginning where Dante comes home and his wife is being dragged to hell or whatever that is. And at first it's like, okay, look, boobs, oh, because it's anime. Whoa, I didn't see that coming. And they were decently sized. And then the different animators that kept coming and going were just like, they all kept the same size breasts. And they're just like, okay, they're normal size. Yeah, then it comes to the end, the final, you know, conclusion of it, and it's like the guy who's animating that was like, okay, big boobs, you know, let's just make him not consistent and la di da, and it's just like, okay, you know what, I'm done. And the animation was good in like in the action department and all that, but when it comes to the girls, it's just like, okay, you know what, I don't mind, you know, some of the stuff that was going on. I don't mind all that, but it's just that to go from like, it's just that guy lacked consistency because every other animator tried to be consistent with the animator before them, but this guy was just like, fuck that, fuck those guys. I'm just gonna do my own little thing. But other than that, it was a good anime. I'm not sure if this is true, but when I was watching it, the audio was not in sync with the video, so it just kind of looked out of sync. It wasn't to the point where it was just like, oh, this is horrible, this is bullshit, turn off the PS3. No, I ended up watching it all the way through. It's a good anime. It was better than Halo Legends in my opinion because it was more interesting and it was more energetic and more emotional than Halo Legends was. And as I said, Be Human was pretty emotional, I think, but this one was just like, okay, fuck that. This is, you know, where it's at. And then it gets me a little bit more interested in the story of Dante's Inferno. If you have the money, I'd say get Dante's Inferno the anime. I think it's a pretty good buy. I think it's a good purchase. But that's just me. But you know, it's fun. I've been seeing a lot of video games become anime, like Halo. Like, it was actually technically the first anime video game that I've seen was Dead Space. And then it wasn't Dead Space, it was Devil May Cry. That was the first video game to become an anime. And then from Devil May Cry to Dead Space, then to Halo, now Dante's Inferno. What's next? I have a feeling God of War is next, but I God hope it isn't. I'm tired of anime. The anime is fine, but now one is based on a video game, guys. It's just like, But that's just me. So, yeah, I give Heavy Rain a 9 out of 10. I give Dante's Inferno, anime, an 8 out of 10. I think it would have been fine if they just kept some level of consistency with the animation. The story just kind of, it was somewhat connected, but it's just like, whatever. I know there are some parts of the anime that I was just like, really? But there are other parts that were pretty good. So, that's that. See you later, YouTube. Ravens Guy, out.